हेलो एंड वेलकम टू बिटनिंग। साथ में मिलकर शुरू करते हैं जिंदगी की दूसरी इनिंग। और जब हम बात ये करते हैं कि यूज केस कि ब्लॉकचेन के यूज केस क्या है, पब्लिक ब्लॉकचेन के यूज केस क्या है, तो जब पब्लिक ब्लॉकचेन के जो यूज केस है उनको अगर किसी को यूज लेना है, स्पेशली जैसे गवर्नमेंट है, उसको पब्लिक ब्लॉकचेन का फायदा उठाना है, राइट। एक डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड पब्लिक लेजर का फायदा उठाना है, तो कैसे उठाए? पब्लिक ब्लॉकचेन उठ के वहां नहीं जाने वाली ना, किसी गवर्नमेंट डिपार्टमेंट में, या उसका कोई रिप्रेजेंटेटिव तो होता नहीं है कि वो जाएगा और बोलेगा हेलो पब्लिक ब्लॉकचेन आई है आपके पास, मीटिंग करनी है। ऐसा नहीं होता है, राइट। सो पब्लिक ब्लॉकचेन्स तो एक इंफ्रा है, उसके ऊपर जो एक जो पॉसिबिलिटीज है उसको कैसे एक पब्लिक एंटिटी है या एक गवर्नमेंट एंटिटी है उसका फायदा उठाना है, तो वो कैसे पॉसिबल होगा? वो पॉसिबल होता है कि जब एक बीच में एक 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 एंटिटी जो ब्रिज का काम करती है कि भाई जो आपकी जरूरत है उन जरूरतों को डिफाइन करके समझ के फिर पब्लिक ब्लॉकचेन के साथ उनकी जरूरतें इंटीग्रेट होती है, तो तब जाके आप देखते हो कि कोई जब ये कहता है कि यार यूज केस है या कास्ट सर्टिफिकेट इशू हुए या डिप्लोमा सर्टिफिकेट पब्लिक ब्लॉकचेन पे इशू हुए, तो वो पॉसिबल हो पाता है वो जो बीच में एक ब्रिजिंग एंटिटीज होती हैं जो ये पॉसिबल करके दिखाती हैं। तो मेरे साथ है नील मार्टिस, पहले भी मैं कवर कर चुका हूँ, लेजिट डॉक के फाउंडर हैं। और इस वक्त इंडिया के अंदर जितनी भी आपने जो यूज केस सुने हैं जो पब्लिक ब्लॉकचेन के ऊपर, जो गवर्नमेंट ने जो गवर्नमेंट के जो यूज केस है उसको अगर कोई पॉसिबल कर पा रहा है तो वो नील मार्टिस कर पा रहे हैं। इनकी जो अचीवमेंट्स है उसकी लिस्ट इतनी लंबी है कि मैं याद नहीं रख पाया। मुझे तो क्योंकि एक याद है, जो हमने कास्ट सर्टिफिकेट्स जो इशू हुए, हमने जो शुभम है वहाँ के जो डिस्ट्रिक्ट मजिस्ट्रेट हैं उनको हमने बुलाया था अब ये बताने के लिए, तो ये एक बहुत बड़ी मैसिव न्यूज़ बनी थी। लेकिन अब एक एंडलेस लिस्ट है जिसको मैं चाहता हूँ कि नील को हम वेलकम करते हैं। नील बताएंगे कि इस वक्त कौन कौन से ऐसे डिपार्टमेंट्स हैं जो पब्लिक ब्लॉकचेन का फायदा उठा रहे हैं। बने रहिए इस पॉडकास्ट के साथ, बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग होने वाला है। वेलकम नील। कोशिश तो यही रहेगी कि अगर आप हिंदी में करें तो चाहे वो कैसी भी हो, मतलब पीपल विल लव टू हियर इट इन हिंदी, और अगर आपको फिर भी लगता है तो इट इज अप टू यू।
I understand Hindi, but I don't speak Hindi. So, as Kashif Bhai has told, I'm the founder of a company. My name is Neil Mattis. I'm the founder of a company called Zappal Labs, based in Bangalore, started in 2018. And we specialize in developing blockchain-based credentials. Again, credential is a fancy word for records, various kinds of records and certificates, basically issued on public blockchain, so that anybody can make sure that these certificates record that are issued are truly tamper proof. Nobody can take them down and anybody can verify them from anywhere around the world. And the most important part is, if tomorrow even if a government wants to deplatform you, we talk about deplatformation by various kind of governments, you will be able to still go ahead and prove on the blockchain that you own this so and so, even if a government decides to deplatform you. So that's the kind of a beauty of public blockchain based credentials. And in India, I would say that because of the national blockchain policy in place that was passed in 2021 December, there has been a huge push for blockchain-based use cases. And Indian government has defined around 42, if I'm not wrong, 42 specific use cases, out of which like voting is one of the use case, out of which blockchain-based credentials and identities is one of the well-defined use case. And that is something that everybody understands. And India is an ocean, right? And there are lakhs of crores of certificates that are produced every year, and that's where we have found our perfect ground. And we have been working with various kind of governments and non-profits for various kind of credentials. And if I have to divide them into three buckets, right? So we have worked on the education sector with governments, we have worked on the financial recently on the sector, and thirdly generic e-governance sector. So if you want me to dive deeper into what we have done,
so I like to know व्हाट फॉर दोज डिपार्टमेंट्स, कौन कौन सी ऐसे डिपार्टमेंट्स हैं जो पब्लिक ब्लॉकचेन का फायदा ले रहे हैं, एंड फिर हम आएंगे कि कौन सी पब्लिक ब्लॉकचेन को यूज कर रहे हैं ज्यादा कौन, और उसके बाद क्योंकि हमने अभी कावालांज वाली भी सुनी, हमने पॉलीगॉन वाली भी सुनी, तो हम ये भी सुनना चाहेंगे कि कौन कौन सी ब्लॉकचेन का फायदा लिया जा रहा है। लेकिन हम डिपार्टमेंट्स की जो लिस्ट है उसको एक बार अगर आप बता दो।
श्योर। सो मैं शुरू करूंगा एजुकेशन डिपार्टमेंट से। एजुकेशन में करेंटली the departments which I can name officially are three departments, three government entities. One is Maharashtra State Board of Skill Development, which is, I would say, one of the largest education boards in the country, or Maharashtra. Every year, 1 lakh students graduate out of this, and they have been using our system since last 3 years. And till date, they have issued more than 10 lakh certificates on Ethereum blockchain and Polygon blockchain, both of these blockchain. Second is Karnataka State Skill Development Corporation, similar to the Maharashtra. In Karnataka also you have a skill development corporation, and they have been using our system since about a year, and they have been using Polygon blockchain to issue these certificates. And recently, I wouldn't tell this as a pure government client, but it is a non-profit client which works with all the governments within India. Is called GIEEE, which is the Indian wing of IEEE worldwide, and they have started issuing skill certificates on Avalanche blockchain as a primary layer, but there is a Polygon as a secondary layer as well. So this is the education sector. Would you want me to go to the other sector?
So this news came recently about IEEE. I mean, this is a huge development. So can you elaborate a little more about this and why this is important? And IEEE being the issues, I think the credentials for engineers, the credential certificates for engineering. So I think this is a very important news that it is coming from the engineering side, and they are kind of believing that this is the public blockchain is the right way to issue credentials. This is like very important. So if you can elaborate more on that news.
Yeah, so what I'll tell is why it was done, the first part, and what implication it has for the world, right? So first of all, one correction there, this entire project was done by GIEEE, which is the Indian wing of IEEE. Indian wing of IEEE.
What it does exactly?
So GIEEE or IEEE in large is a it's like UN for education and technology, if I have to be very precise. It does n number of functions. One of them is, they used to define standards, like most of the internet standard, TCP/IP protocol standards were defined by IEEE. Majority of the hardware standards used to be defined by IEEE. So that was the role IEEE used to play early on. But right now, companies are coming up with more of the standards, right? But they act as a standard setter for any kind of new technologies for the industries and government. That is the primary role of IEEE. Secondly, they do a lot of work on skilling. If you take an example, the Indian IEEE, so what they do is they have two models, something called retail model. So something similar to how Unacademy or Udemy runs their own program. So me and you can go and upskill ourselves in the IEEE program in the retail model. At the same time, in India, Skill India program is going very large, right? So whereby every year, every state government, central government is spending crores of rupees in skilling people. But they do not have the infrastructure or expertise to go and skill people at large. So what they do is they tie up with people like IEEE and have them drive all these missions. That's what IEEE does. Apart from that, most of the engineering colleges in India are affiliated to IEEE. You can get their membership. You can publish research articles. I think Pranav would know more about it. Most of the engineers have been part of IEEE. So I would say, just to again summarize, they're the UN for education and technology within India. And what we have done within the Indian sector is, again, IEEE used to issue n number of certificates in the retail model and in the B2B model. And they used to do it using centralized, not even centralized system, in paper certification format. And verifying a credential was a very difficult part for them. They wanted to go for a pure digital system. And because GIEEE is a tech savvy platform, they saw that we can directly leapfrog to blockchain-based credentials rather than having a centralized insecure credentials. That's what IEEE does. And now within India, every student who gets a skill certificate will be able to instantaneously authenticate him on the blockchain without any forgery. So this is a smaller implication. But on a larger scale, so a non-profit or it's like UN adopting public blockchains. Something similarly, if IEEE is completely going out in the public and adopting a public blockchain-based system, that means that IEEE is saying that, hey, public blockchains are true and I believe in this. And that sends a strong signal to all the industries and governments, because these governments look up to IEEE to define a lot of standards for them. So I would say that is the most best implication that this kind of implementation has right now.
जो ये चैनल है, जो ये शो है वेब3 की दुनिया, दिस इज पावर्ड बाय सोमनिया नेटवर्क. सोमनिया बेसिकली एक L1 ब्लॉकचेन है, राइट? और ये कर क्या रही है कि जो डिफरेंट मेटावर्सेस है, राइट, जो दुनिया में जो अलग अलग मेटावर्सेस बन रहे हैं, ये अल्टीमेटली ये चेन क्लेम कर रही है कि एक ऐसी L1 चेन बना रहे हैं जिसमें एक ही चेन पे जो मेटावर्सेस अलग अलग जो है वो बिल्ड होंगे और मेटावर्सेस के अंदर वो इंटर ऑपरेबल होंगे, मतलब एक मेटावर्स से आप दूसरे मेटावर्स में मूव कर सकोगे, एक मेटावर्स के एसेट्स दूसरे मेटावर्स के में यूज कर सकोगे। जैसे एक गेम आप खेल रहे हो फोर्टनाइट, एक गेम आप खेल रहे हो रोबॉक्स, रोब्लॉक्स के अंदर आप फोर्टनाइट के एसेट्स यूज कर पाओगे। सपोज आप एक कार की गेम खेल रहे हो और एक दूसरी गेम है, उस एक कार अब एक गेम से दूसरी गेम में ले जा सकोगे। इस तरह का इंटरऑपरेबल नेटवर्क ये बनाने की तैयारी में है। सोमनिया के पीछे वो लोग हैं जिन्होंने अदर साइड जो कि BAYC का मेटावर्स था वो बनाया था। सोमनिया L1 के साथ आप जाके अभी क्योंकि इंटरैक्ट कर सकते हो, इंटरैक्ट करने पे ऑब्वियसली हमने ये देखा है कि आज की डेट में when you are early and when you interact with the chain, during the test net, beta net, और तो आपको एक एयर ड्रॉप्स की अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलती है। वो आप जाके लिंक्स में डिस्क्रिप्शन में डाल दूंगा। app.galaxy पे जाके इनके ये काफी सारे टास्क हैं that you can maybe retweet the tweet, follow them, and then you obviously get to earn the points। अब पॉइंट्स का एयर ड्रॉप मिलेगा नहीं मिलेगा वो ऑब्वियसली कोई कंफर्म नहीं करता, बट पॉइंट्स जनरली दे लीड टू एयर ड्रॉप्स जो हमने देखा है। और ये आप zeely.io पे भी जाके कर सकते हो। यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हो 10 पॉइंट अलग अलग टास्क करने पे आपको पॉइंट्स अवेलेबल है। तो ये था सोमनिया नेटवर्क जो कि हमारे आज के शो का स्पॉन्सर भी है।
ऑलराइट, आप बता रहे थे other two institutes in the government that work with you, तो उनके बारे में भी can you just complete your argument there?
Sure. I think the first one
is done. Yeah, the education.
The first category is done. Okay. Yeah. So the second category is e-governance. Again, e-governance means any kind of certificates that are given to citizens from governance perspective, right? Like it can mean all kind of licenses, your caste certificate, income certificate, various kind of permits. It could be police who is issuing income, like it's like a bar license or any kind of license, right? In this as well, we have worked with the n number of entities. One is with government of Maharashtra itself, whereby a particular district in Maharashtra has implemented a system to issue caste certificates within the state of Maharashtra. And in fact, this particular implementation has been hailed as a model project by Niti Aayog. So I think Kashif Bhai had covered this part. So last year, Niti Aayog has declared 9 projects as model projects within India, which includes our DigiLocker, Umang app. One of them is LegitDoc application. That's the only blockchain application. Umang is not a blockchain application. They have declared 9 projects as a model projects. Out of them, LegitDoc is one. Yeah, one of them. And they have even recommended saying that the entire country should adopt a system like this for caste certificate. And we have been working with several governments, 2 to 3 state governments right now on the caste certification part as well. I cannot name them because we have not signed something with them. So this is the first category. Second thing is that we have been working with several urban bodies. Urban bodies dictate or they are responsible for delivering governance to a majority of the people. So I can name 2 of them. That is Bhilai Municipal Corporation and Raipur Municipal Corporation, which are both some of the largest municipal corporations within Chhattisgarh. So they have been using a system to issue various kinds of licenses, birth certificate, marriage certificate right now, and we are looking at a large scale as well. They have already gone live. They have not announced this because of the election that was going in. So soon it will be announced as well. Apart from that, we have been working, I can just give an indirect hint. There is Asia's biggest municipality in India. We have been working with them. We have been working with one of the largest municipalities.
For caste certificates?
For all the certificates.
All the certificates. So right now, most governments are right now interested more in the certificate inclusion part, which is also, of course, I understand is a very unique use case, right?
Not only unique use case, it's an easy use case which they understand, right? And it's easier to implement. Okay. There is no complication. Important as well, yeah.
My next big question is that as of right now, most people in the government, including the ministers, are pro blockchain.
Yes.
There is no two to that. But they are always believing in technology and not the crypto part of it. Yes. And that's why they started with Hyperledger Fabric, R3 Corda, and tried to do something with the private blockchain ecosystem where the token portion is not involved. But when it came to public blockchains and you're issuing certificates on the public blockchain, for example, you're doing it on the Polygon blockchain, you will have to use gas to make that certification transaction at least. And for that, you need to possess that token to make things happen, right?
Yeah.
So first of all, how did you convince the government and the government officials to do it on the public blockchain? And secondly, how are they dealing with this transaction gas part so that if they are not pro crypto right now, they cannot do it on the so how are they doing it that way?
Sure. See,
Do they possess avalanche tokens? Do they possess polygon token, and that's how they do the transactions?
sure. So I'll answer both the questions. So one is that, see, whenever somebody tells us, right, hey, I want to do it on blockchain because whether the hype or they want to do something, right? So then we ask them, what is your use case? So yes, I believe that public blockchains and permission blockchains have their own place in the respective use cases. You cannot fit both of them in all the use cases. Now, most of the whole point of blockchain is you bring decentralization and shared ownership between parties involved, right? Now, take an example of certifications. क्या होता है वहाँ? There is a single issuer. Let's say Maharashtra government हुआ, and n number of users. जैसा हुआ certificate holders, and there could be a number of verifiers whom you do not even know, right? Then does it make any sense for a single issuer to have his own private blockchain and call it a blockchain? It doesn't make any sense, right? So I think you guys know about this already. So this is a point we try to tell them, like, so see, if you want to do a private blockchain, we do it, but it is not the right part. And most of the people understand after explaining to a particular extent, right? And that's how we started with the journey. But one thing you need to understand in the government sector is what these officers or the politicians understand. They understand precedence. The main I would say strength that LegitDoc or Zapple Lab has, we have precedences with 10 governments right now or whatnot, right? So whenever I go to the next government, I do not even have to convince him saying that, boss, why you have to do to public blockchain, because already the previous 10 governments have already done it. So I do not even need to get into that particular stage. And if somebody tells me, why we need to do it, I give this particular argument and you tell me, sir, does it make sense to do it on a...
But how do they take care of the gas part?
Okay, so this was the first part. So see, the gas part is again still tricky, right? So whether it's a government, forget about governments, even enterprises do not want to deal with cryptos because of whatever the stigma that is there, and even from us. So they are okay to utilize blockchain platforms, public blockchain platforms, but they do not want to have their own wallets on chain. They do not want to own any storage. So what we have done is, everybody knows account abstraction, right? What Biconomy has done. So we have come up with our own kind of account abstraction, whereby what we do, we have a wallet, we have a smart contract. Basically, there's a wallet which our private key will operate. We pay all the gas fees, but on that smart contract, there is a way for these issuers to come and register their private keys, so public keys. So meaning, let's say tomorrow, if a college or somebody wants to issue a credential on chain, for him there is a front-end application that is there, which is talking to this particular smart contract. And I have made this smart contract multi-sig such that he can sign a transaction on chain, but I pay the gas fee from my end. So he doesn't, for him, it becomes a simple SaaS software. He doesn't know what is there at the hood. So he can utilize this application as simple as using any kind of application. He doesn't have to care what is the gas fee. All of that is handled by my end. But at the same time, you could ask, is it decentralized enough? Yes, because the way this multi-sig wallet is set up says that I do not have access to his private key. Only he will be able to sign transaction for himself. So that's, hope you understood. So it works something similar to account abstraction itself, but in an indirect way. Yeah.
All right.
So when it comes to preference, I mean, do you recommend them the public blockchain, or how do you choose a public blockchain? So when you say we are using Polygon or using Avalanche or using Ethereum, how do you choose it?
Okay, so there is the question of how do I choose which public blockchain?
How? I mean, because they don't know, they might be choice neutral.
Yes.
And they are relying on you to choose a blockchain because they think that you are an expert.
Yes.
Now, how you choose it?
Yeah.
What is so you choose it on? I want to understand those parameters behind that selection.
Sure. So there are two things that get into perspective. Sometimes from our clients, they recommend us, you have to use this public blockchain. There have been some cases.
So what do they recommend?
So it depends on the client again. So recently, I can name, there is a entity called GIPL, Gujarat Infotech Petro Limited. They have come up with a tender. I mean, we are also one of the participants there. So they have clearly told, we want Ethereum blockchain itself, not even Altos. Correct? It's Pranav's favorite.
This is important.
Yeah.
This segment is important.
Yeah. At the same time, some of the clients, they would be interacting with certain
But
foundations.
you could have asked them this question: why Ethereum? Why you were so particular about it? I mean,
We have
I mean,
asked,
they must have done some kind of a study.
I mean, their consultant would have recommended them. That's how happens in government.
Pranav would have been their consultant. Yes,
No,
Pranav is a hidden consultant to GIPL.
Yeah, Ethereum is the most decentralized programmable blockchain out there. So there's no question around it. Like ideally, if I see, I would say take a step back.
You can smile at least.
No, I'll tell you something about you, which is in your favor itself. My end goal at Zappel is to, so now Bitcoin inscriptions have come. It's not so advanced for scripting, but ultimately I want to get all of this on Bitcoin, because if I can do it on Bitcoin, that is like a permanent record. I do not need to do anything. But right now, if
Your
I have
short-lived happiness.
No. But still, Ethereum, we have to give it to Ethereum, and currently I can only work with Ethereum, right? I cannot work with Bitcoin. So ideally, I should be working with Ethereum, but the problem with Ethereum is because gas fees is very erratic.
Account abstraction cannot work there.
Yeah, no matter what, you have to pay some gas fees, right? And unit economics goes haywire sometimes. So that's when the compromise that you can do is you can do it on L2s on Ethereum. Let's say Polygon, I would say it as kind of L2, the POS layer, but still, because let's say tomorrow, even if Polygon after 10 years stops, I can just make a copy of Polygon entire chain, still have these commits on Ethereum as long as Ethereum is running, right?
Yeah.
Similarly, there are other L2s that are running. So what we do is we recommend Ethereum L2s as the first strategy to them, but again, it depends on the clients, right? And one more thing that we have realized at our end is, see, we are talking about decentralization. Yes, we are decentralizing the settlement layer from blockchains. But ultimate decentralization would be, can we have multiple blockchains commitments? Because tomorrow, let's say something happens with one blockchain. I have one more ecosystem blockchain to back it up. I cannot go to a government after 5 years, boss, this blockchain is down. You'll not be able to verify a certificate. So that's where a recent strategy adopted by us is go multi-chain. Let's say किसी को कुछ one hash डालना है, you simultaneously put it on 3 chains, right? So this is something that we have been experimenting right now, and with every recently we did a HPCL implementation. There we have Polygon as a base layer. We implement on Polygon for every implementation, but there we experimented with Near, because Near is a non-Ethereum based ecosystem. So you have commitments on 2 of the blockchains. Now, in case of the recent implementation, we applied a similar strategy with Avalanche. And again, the client has a particular, I would say, preference for that particular chain. So we did that as a primary chain. And again, we have other backups as well. Yeah.
So the time has arrived now when the clients are suggesting which blockchain to use. I mean, what an interesting times we are living in. I mean, and that too, clearly their conviction for chains. So are we going to see a multi-chain world? Yes, the example is right in front of us, and people, entities, governments might come up with their own preference. That's interesting. I mean, I never thought about it, that there could be a choice or a diktat that you need to do this, make a project for us, but you use this blockchain. Interesting times ahead. Thank you, Neil, for bringing blockchain, from bringing the use case to the government. I mean, the kind of work you have been doing, it is so very important कि जितना use case आप लेके आ रहे हो ना, इतना use case अभी तक ecosystem में कोई भी लेके नहीं आया. चलिए, with this thought, thank you very much, and we'll continue to bring you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for your support.
Thank you. Thank you.